I never imagined my life would completely change on an ordinary Tuesday in March. My name is Amanda. I'm 52 years old, and for 28 years, I believed I had built a perfect life alongside Richard. We lived in Portland, Oregon, in a comfortable house in the Laurelhurst neighborhood with a garden that I tended myself on Sunday mornings. Richard was a regional manager at a tech company, and I worked as an administrative coordinator at a consulting firm downtown. We had 2 adult children, Jennifer and Michael, both already independent and living their own lives in other cities. That morning, I woke up as always, made coffee, checked my emails, and got ready for work. Richard had already left earlier, claiming an important meeting. I didn't suspect anything. After all, after almost 3 decades together, trust was something I considered unshakable in our marriage. I was wrong. Around 11 in the morning, my boss, Patricia, asked me to deliver some urgent documents to Richard's office. She had tried to send them by email, but the system was having problems, and those contracts needed immediate signatures. I accepted without hesitation. It was only 15 minutes away, and I could take the opportunity to have lunch with my husband afterward, something we hadn't done in weeks. I arrived at the glass and steel building where Richard worked, a modern 12-story structure in the business district. I greeted the receptionist, who knew me from previous times I had visited, and went up to the 8th floor where his department was located. The elevator rose slowly, and I mentally reviewed my to-do list for the day. When the doors opened, I walked down the hallway with white walls and fluorescent lighting to his office. Richard's office door was slightly ajar. I was about to knock when I heard voices inside. I immediately recognized his voice, that deep tone I knew so well. But there was another voice, feminine, young, laughing at something he was saying. I paused, not out of suspicion, but out of courtesy, waiting for the right moment to interrupt. That's when I heard Richard say something that froze my blood. "Nobody needs to know, Sarah. Amanda never comes here without warning." My heart raced. I pushed the door slowly, just enough to see inside the room. And there he was, my husband of 28 years, embraced with a woman who couldn't have been more than 30 years old. She wore a tight navy blue dress, and Richard had his hands on her waist. They weren't just talking, they were kissing. I felt as if the ground had disappeared beneath my feet. My breathing failed. My entire body trembled. I wanted to scream, wanted to go in and demand explanations, but something paralyzed me there. Maybe the shock, maybe the fear of confirming what my eyes already saw. I took 2 steps back, silently, and hid behind a column in the hallway. I needed to process that. I needed to understand. I heard when they separated, laughed softly, and Sarah said something about having lunch later. Richard agreed, and she left the room, passing so close to me that I could smell the expensive perfume she wore. I stood there, motionless, until she got into the elevator. Then, I looked at the documents I was holding in my hands. Suddenly, those papers seemed insignificant. Everything seemed insignificant. I didn't enter Richard's office. I didn't confront anyone at that moment. I simply went back to the elevator, went down to the parking lot, and sat in my car for almost an hour, trying to breathe, trying to think. Tears ran down my face, but I wasn't even sure when I had started crying. Questions flooded my mind. How long had this been going on? How many times had he lied? How many important meetings never existed? And Sarah, who was she? A colleague, a subordinate, someone he saw every day while I prepared dinner at home, waiting for him? When I finally managed to compose myself enough to drive, I went back to the office. Patricia immediately noticed something was wrong. She pulled me into her office and closed the door. "Amanda, what happened? You're pale," I wanted to tell her. I wanted to vent right there, but the words wouldn't come out. Instead, I just shook my head and said I wasn't feeling well, that I needed to go home. Patricia, always understanding, let me go without questioning. I drove to a cafe near Waterfront Park, a place Richard and I used to frequent in the early years of our marriage. I ordered tea and sat in a corner, away from other people. I needed to think. I needed to decide what to do. Confront him? Pretend nothing happened? Look for a lawyer? I called my friend Claire, who lived in Seattle. We had known each other since college, and she had always been my confidant. When I told her what I had seen, she was silent for a few seconds before saying, "Amanda, I'm so sorry. I really am. But you need to think clearly now. Don't make hasty decisions. Gather information first. Are you sure about what you saw?" "Absolutely," I replied, my voice breaking. Then you need to protect yourself, financially, emotionally. Before confronting him, get organized. Claire's words made sense. I spent the rest of the afternoon doing exactly that. I checked our bank accounts, our investments, important documents. I discovered that Richard had made several significant withdrawals over the last 6 months, all justified as company expenses. But now I wondered if that money hadn't been used for something else, or for someone else. When I got home that night, Richard wasn't there yet. I sent a message asking where he was. He replied that he would stay late at the office, solving urgent problems. More lies. I sat on the living room couch, looking at the framed photos on the shelf. Our family smiling on vacation at the Grand Canyon, Jennifer at graduation, Michael at his wedding the previous year. Everything seemed fake now, as if those memories belonged to someone else. Richard arrived around 10 at night, tired, saying the day had been exhausting. I watched him as he took off his jacket, loosened his tie, acted as if nothing was wrong, and maybe, in his head, nothing was. Maybe I was just the reliable wife at home, while Sarah was the forbidden excitement at the office. I didn't say anything that night, nor the next. I continued my routine, but inside I was planning. Claire was right. I needed to protect myself. I needed to be strategic. Over the following weeks, I discovered more. I checked his credit card statements and found expenses at restaurants where we never dined together, hotels in nearby cities where he claimed to have gone for conferences. I hired a private investigator, something I never imagined doing in my life, but I felt I needed concrete proof. The investigator confirmed what I already knew. Richard was having an affair with Sarah Miller, a 32-year-old data analyst who had been working in the same department for 2 years. Meanwhile, something unexpected happened at my work. Patricia called me to a meeting and said the company was opening a new branch in Seattle. They needed someone experienced, reliable, and capable of leading a team. She offered me the position of regional manager with a significant salary increase and benefits. Amanda, you've always been one of our best employees. I believe you're ready for this challenge. What do you think? I looked at Patricia, processing the information. Seattle, a new city, a new beginning, and coincidentally, that's where Claire lived. Can I think about it? I asked. Of course, but I need an answer by the end of the month. That offer was like a light at the end of the tunnel. An opportunity to start over, to rebuild myself away from Richard and all the lies. But before accepting, I needed to resolve things here. I scheduled a meeting with a divorce lawyer. He reviewed all the documents I had gathered and said I had a strong case. Richard had not only been unfaithful, but had also used marital funds inappropriately. I could claim a favorable division of assets. Finally, on a Friday night, I decided to confront him. Richard was in the living room, watching a basketball game. I sat next to him and turned off the television. "We need to talk," I said, my voice firm. He looked at me confused. "About what?" "About Sarah Miller." His face lost all color. His eyes widened. For a moment, he tried to deny it, saying he didn't know what I was talking about. But when I put the photos the investigator had taken on the coffee table, he crumbled. "Amanda, I can explain. You don't need to. I already know everything." "How long, Richard? 2 years? Since she started working there?" He lowered his head. "It wasn't planned. It just happened." Those words infuriated me. It just happened? 28 years of marriage, and it just happened? "I didn't want to hurt you," he murmured. "But you did. Deeply. And you know what's worse? You kept lying every day. You pretended you loved me while you were with her." Richard tried to approach, but I moved away. "Amanda, please. We can fix this. I'll end it with her. We can do couples therapy." I shook my head. "No, it's over, Richard. I've already contacted a lawyer. You'll receive the divorce papers next week." He was shocked. "You can't be serious." "I'm completely serious, and there's more. I accepted a promotion in Seattle. I'm moving next month." His expression changed from shock to disbelief. "Seattle? You're leaving Portland? What about our house? What about our children? Jennifer and Michael are adults. They'll understand. As for the house, my lawyer will take care of that. And before you ask, yes, they already know about Sarah. I had called our children a few days earlier, telling them everything. Both were devastated, but supported me completely. Jennifer even offered to come to Portland and stay with me during the transition, but I said I was fine, and I was. For the first time in weeks, I felt I had control over my life again. Richard tried to argue, beg, promise changes, but I had already made my decision. That night, he slept in the guest room, and I locked our bedroom door for the first time in almost 3 decades. The following days were a confusion of paperwork, meetings with lawyers, and preparations for the move. Patricia was incredibly supportive, offering all necessary help to facilitate my transition to Seattle. Claire was also excited about the news, already planning how she would help me settle in the city. There were difficult moments, of course. Nights when I cried myself to sleep, days when I questioned if I was doing the right thing. But whenever doubt arose, I remembered that scene in Richard's office, and determination returned. One of the most difficult conversations was with my mother, Dorothy, who lived in Eugene. She and Richard had always gotten along well, and when I told her about the divorce, she was shocked. "Amanda, are you sure about this? Marriages go through difficult phases. Maybe you can overcome it." "Mom, he betrayed my trust. For years, probably. There's no going back." She sighed. "I just want you to be happy, my daughter. I will be, I promise." And I believed it. For the first time in a long time, I was doing something for myself. Not for the family, not for the marriage, but for Amanda, the woman who got lost in so many years of dedication to other people. 3 weeks later, the divorce papers were officially served. Richard tried to contest some points, but my lawyer was excellent. In the end, we got a reasonable agreement. I would keep half of the assets, including my part in the house, which would be sold, and he would assume responsibility for his questionable expenses. The day of my move was bittersweet. Claire came from Seattle to help me, along with Jennifer. We packed my things, the ones that really mattered: books, photos of my children, some decorative pieces I loved. The rest stayed behind, along with the life I knew. When I locked the door for the last time, I looked at that house. So many memories, good and bad, but it was time to move on. The trip to Seattle took about 3 hours. Claire drove, and Jennifer followed behind in her car with more boxes. Along the way, we talked about everything and nothing, about my new job, about the possibilities that were opening up, about what it would be like to start over in a new city at 52 years old. "Mom, I'm proud of you," Jennifer said when we stopped at a gas station. "I know it wasn't easy, but you're doing the right thing." Those words meant more than she could imagine. I hugged my daughter, grateful for having raised such incredible people. Arriving in Seattle was surreal. Claire had helped me find a charming apartment in the Capitol Hill neighborhood, with a view of the city. It wasn't big, but it was mine, completely mine, without painful memories on the walls. The first few days were about adapting, meeting the new team at work, learning the city routes, discovering the best cafes and markets. Claire introduced me to her circle of friends, and slowly I began to build a new social network. My new position at the company was challenging but rewarding. Patricia had given me total autonomy to structure the department as I saw fit. I hired a talented team, implemented new processes, and within a few months, our branch was exceeding expectations. I received praise from the board and even a substantial bonus. One afternoon, while reviewing reports in my new office, I received an unexpected call. It was from Richard's old company. The person on the other end of the line was someone from the Human Resources Department. "Mrs. Amanda, sorry to bother you. I know you no longer work with us, but I have information that I believe you should know." My stomach tightened. "About what?" "About Richard and Sarah Miller. There's an internal investigation underway. It appears Richard used his position to favor Sarah with undeserved promotions and raises. There are also accusations of inappropriate use of company funds. I thought you should know, as some of these transactions may have impacted your personal finances." I was silent for a moment, processing. "Thank you for informing me. I'll pass this information to my lawyer." After hanging up, I leaned back in my chair. Richard was being investigated. His career, which he valued so much, was at risk. I didn't feel satisfaction in that, but I didn't feel sorry either. He had made choices, and now he was facing the consequences. Weeks later, I learned from Jennifer that Richard had been fired. Sarah, too. The investigation revealed not only their affair, but also a series of financial irregularities. He was facing possible legal proceedings. Meanwhile, my life in Seattle was flourishing. I made new friends in a morning hiking group that Claire introduced me to. I started taking pottery classes, something I always wanted to do but never had time for. I explored Pike Place markets, walked along the waterfront, visited museums. I rediscovered who Amanda was beyond wife and mother. There were moments of loneliness, of course, Nights when I sat in my small apartment and wondered if I had made the right choice. But whenever these doubts arose, I looked around. At the space I had created just for myself, at the career I was building, at the freedom I had conquered, and I knew that yes, I had made the right choice. Michael came to visit me on Thanksgiving. He and his wife, Rachel, stayed for a long weekend. It was wonderful to show them my new life, my new city. We had a cozy dinner in my apartment, and for the first time in months, I felt I had a family again. Different, smaller, but true. "Mom, you seem happier," Michael observed while we washed dishes after dinner. "Lighter." "I feel that way," I replied, smiling. "It took time, but I'm getting there." At work, my team was becoming one of the most productive in the company. Patricia called me personally to congratulate me on the first quarter's performance in Seattle. She talked about future expansion, about how my work was being noticed by senior management. There were even rumors of a possible promotion to regional director. One evening, while walking through the neighborhood after dinner at a delicious Thai restaurant, I stopped in front of an art gallery. There was a photography exhibition that caught my attention. I went in on impulse. The photos were of Pacific Northwest landscapes, capturing the melancholic beauty of the region. I lost myself admiring each image. "Beautiful collection, isn't it?" a voice beside me commented. I turned and saw a man with gray hair, probably a few years older than me, with a gentle smile. "Yes, they're impressive," I replied. We talked for a few minutes about the photographs, about art, about Seattle. He introduced himself as David, a retired history professor who now dedicated himself to photography as a hobby. There was no romantic connotation to the conversation, just two strangers sharing appreciation for something beautiful. But even so, that moment was significant to me. It represented openness, possibility, the idea that my life hadn't ended, that there were still unexpected encounters and interesting conversations ahead. When I got home that night, I sat on the small balcony of my apartment with a cup of tea. The city glowed below, alive and pulsating. I thought about everything that had happened in recent months. The betrayal, the pain, the decision to leave, the rebuilding. It wasn't easy. There were days when I wanted to give up, go back to the familiar, even if it was painful. But I chose to move forward. I chose to value myself. I chose to believe I deserved more. And looking at where I was now, with a flourishing career, a new city to explore, friends who supported me, and a renewed relationship with my children, I realized I had done more than survive. I was thriving. Richard tried to contact me a few times in the following months. Messages apologizing, saying he made a mistake, that he wanted to talk. I didn't respond. There was nothing more to be said. That chapter of my life was closed. At work, the promotion materialized. In February, I was officially named regional director, overseeing not only Seattle, but also operations in Portland and San Francisco. It was ironic in a way. The tragedy that could have destroyed me ended up being the catalyst for the greatest professional advancement of my life. Jennifer joked that my payback was better than any dramatic confrontation, and maybe she was right. I didn't need to belittle Richard or publicly expose his betrayal. I didn't need to make everything a scandal. I simply moved forward, built a better life, and let the consequences of his actions catch up with him naturally. Claire organized a small celebration in my apartment to commemorate the promotion. Some co-workers came, as well as the friends I had made in Seattle. It was a night of laughter, toasts, gratitude. I looked around the room full of smiling faces and felt a deep peace. This was my life now. Not perfect, but authentic. Not without scars, but stronger. At 52 years old, I discovered it's never too late to start over. That betrayals can break your heart, but they don't have to break your spirit. And that sometimes, the best payback isn't getting revenge on those who hurt you, but becoming the best version of yourself. When everyone left that night and I was alone in the silent apartment, I opened the dresser drawer and took out the only photo I had kept from my previous life. It was from my wedding day, almost 3 decades ago. I looked at that young Amanda, 24 years old, so full of hope and dreams. She didn't know what was coming, the joys, the disappointments, the betrayals. But I, the Amanda of now, knew. And I was okay with that, because every experience, no matter how painful, brought me here. And here, in this new beginning, I was finally feeling at home. I put the photo away again. I didn't throw it away, But I also didn't need to look at it every day anymore. It was part of my story, but it wasn't my present or my future. My future was being written now, page by page, day by day. And for the first time in a long time, I was excited to see what would come next.